Many organizations say that SAFe or Agile itself doesn't work. But in most cases, the framework didn't fail. The transformation did. And transformations fail for very predictable reasons.
I'm Greg Miścichowski, and this is the Uncover Leadership Podcast. For over 15 years, I've been leading teams, and my mission is simple: to share my experience so you can grow on your own leadership journey. Each episode, I'll bring you some practical tips, real-world insights, and lessons from my path to help guide yours. So listen in. Let's uncover leadership together.
This episode is a little different. Throughout Season 2, we explored the key roles in Scaled Agile: Scrum Master, Product Owner, Release Train Engineer, Product Manager, and System Architect. Now, let's step back and look at the bigger picture. Why do so many organizations start a SAFe transformation and then say, Agile doesn't work here? In my experience, the reasons are usually very similar. Let's look at 5 of the most common mistakes done during the transformation. Mistake number 1 will be copying the framework without the mindset. Many organizations begin their transformation by copying the mechanics because it's easy. They're going to implement PA plannings, agile release trains, Scrum ceremonies, backlogs, and boards, and all of the fancy stuff. They bring the team together, they plan together, they introduce new roles. On the surface, everything looks agile, but underneath, nothing has changed. Leadership still operates in a command and control mindset. Teams are still organized in functional silos. Developers sit in one group, testers in another, operations somewhere else. And when delivery struggles, the conclusion becomes Agile doesn't work. But the problem isn't the framework. It's the fact that the mindset never changed. When organizations install ceremonies without changing behaviors, they don't get agility. They get agile theater. Now, mistake number 2, leadership doesn't change. The second reason the transformations fail is leadership. Agile requires leaders to shift their role, shift their mindset from controlling work to enabling people. But many leaders say they support Agile while still demanding fixed scope, fixed deadlines, fixed plans. That's not agility. Agile allows teams to learn, adapt, and shape solutions as they build them. If leadership continues to manage delivery exactly the same way as before, then the framework cannot work, because transformation starts at the top of the organization. If leaders don't change how they lead, the system below won't change either. Now, mistake number 3 are roles without real authority. That's another common issue when we're just going to introduce the roles without empowering them. Any organization may introduce new roles like Scrum Master, Product Owner, Release Train Engineer, Product Manager, System Architect, or whatnot. But if those roles are not giving the right authority to actually influence the system, they slowly transform into something else. And then Scrum Master become meeting coordinator, RTE become project manager just with a different title, product managers become backlog administrators, and architects just a gatekeeper. At that point, the system stops working because those roles were designed to enable collaboration, alignment, and decision making. Without real influence, the framework becomes structure without purpose. And eventually, people say again, Agile doesn't work here. Now, mistake number 4 gonna be no real prioritization. And it's something that I've seen many times. Everything becomes priority. New requests appear constantly, teams change sprint plans mid-sprints, works get interrupted again and again. And what's the result? Busy teams, exhausted, low predictability, and very little actually get finished. When everything is a priority, nothing truly is. Real prioritization means making trade offs. It means deciding what not to do right now. Without that discipline, even the best framework cannot create focus, and the teams cannot deliver. Now, fifth and final mistake for today is ignoring technical depth or ignoring the architectural runway. Organizations often push for more features, more capabilities, more visible progress. But behind the scenes, something else is growing, and that's technical depth. Missing architectural runway, infrastructure that cannot support future growth. For a while, teams may still move quickly, but eventually the system slows down. Dependencies grow, delivery become harder and harder, and again the framework gets blamed. But the real problem was ignoring the technical foundation needed for sustainable delivery. And what's the bigger lesson out of it is that those 5 mistakes are not the only reason transformation fails. They're one of the most common. Every organization has its own challenges, but these patterns appear again and again, and they point to a larger truth. There is no single framework that magically fixes organizations. SAFe is not a silver bullet. Agile is not a shortcut. Frameworks provide structure, but people, behaviors, and culture determine whether that structure actually works. If organizations only add new processes and new labels while keeping the old mindset, eventually the system drifts back to the way it worked before, because habits are stronger than frameworks. And we are species that love that comfort of knowing what we're doing, while transformation is a change, and we try to stop it as soon as we hear about it. Now remember, real transformation requires more than new tools or ceremonies. It requires changes in leadership behavior, prioritization discipline, technical practices, and organizational culture change. Because at the end, the framework didn't fail, the transformation did. And successful transformation only happens when leadership, roles, culture, and technology evolve together. That brings us to the end of Season 2 of the Uncover Leadership podcast. Thank you for listening, for sharing those episodes, and for being part of this journey. I'm going to take a short break and start preparing for Season 3, where we'll explore new leadership topics and go deeper into practical challenges leaders face every day. Until then, keep building, keep leading, and keep uncovering leadership. Thank you for listening.